I am Dr. Tariq Ashraf from University of Delhi. I will be speaking on module number 11 of public libraries, which is developmental plans and resource mobilization. This module essentially discusses the various steps which government has taken over the years to develop public libraries, and also various kind of activities which have gone into the mobilization of resources for the sustenance of public libraries. Public libraries are actually governed by state subjects, but at the same time at various levels central government has also taken different steps through 5 years plans. So, this module essentially describes these various kind of developments which have taken place through legislation and setting up of various commissions and committees. Public libraries are most valuable social assets for any country and are empowering institutions. They are repositories of knowledge and enrich the cultural milieu of the communities they serve. India has an illustrious history and rich legacy of libraries largely patronized by kings and emperors. The arrival of Britishers in 1857 spurred phenomenal changes in the educational landscape of the country, and several public libraries came into existence. Thus, it can be observed that in the last 500 years prior to independence of India, several public libraries had been established by scholarly inclined individual rulers bereft of any policy formulation. Public libraries developmental plans. Planning constitutes an integral part of developmental process, and public libraries are no exception. After its independence on 15 August 1947, India embarked on the path of planned development. Planning of library services is a continuous systematic process of stating the educational levels, problems of research and the changing requirements in the socio-economic scenario of a country. Planning methods. A planned document for libraries should have the following components: aims, objectives and options, administrative and financial structure, legislation, staff, organization of library services, sources of funds. Public libraries in post-independence era, planning and development. India's independence in 1947 was a major development for the country and laid the beginning of enactment of new policies in all areas. Both central and the state governments took a number of steps forward for the development of the nation from the point of education and considered library as essential part of it. Public libraries became an integral part of the country's educational budget. Delhi Public Library was established in 1951 as the first UNESCO Public Library pilot project under the joint auspices of UNESCO and Government of India to adopt modern techniques to Indian conditions and to serve as a model public library for Asia. In 1954, the Delivery of Book Act was passed. The Act obligated every publisher in India to deposit one copy each of the publications to the National Library in Calcutta. As an important developmental initiative, the Advisory Committee for Libraries was constituted in 1957 by the Government of India. As an important developmental initiative, the Advisory Committee for Libraries was constituted in 1957 by the Government of India, which drafted a model library bill. Subsequently, the Planning Commission constituted a working group on public libraries in 1964, and the commission submitted its report in 1965 with the Model Public Libraries Act in 1972. The Government of India Planning Commission constituted working group on development of public libraries to make recommendations for library development. In 1979, a library section was established in the Department of Culture under the Ministry of Education with the objectives of promotion of libraries. As a planning process, a working group on modernization of library services and informatics was appointed by the Planning Commission in 1983. The Government of India Department of Culture appointed a committee on national policy on library and information systems in 1985. The establishment of National Literacy Mission in 1986, which emphasized education for women and also establishment of rural libraries, was a further fillip to developmental process. Public libraries planning models. The UNESCO Public Library Manifesto 1972 states that the public libraries should be established under the clear mandate of law, which is substantiated by the IFLA UNESCO Public Library Manifesto 1994. Dr. S. R. Ranganathan is regarded as the pioneer of library legislation in India. The first Model Public Libraries Act was prepared by Dr. S. R. Ranganathan in 1930 and revised in 1957 and 1972. Model Public Libraries Bill of Ministry of Education. Government of India appointed a committee under the chairmanship of Dr. M. D. Sen. The committee drafted Model Public Libraries Bill in the year 1963. Model Public Libraries Bill of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission, Government of India, constituted a working group on libraries in 1964 to plan and advise on the development of libraries during the fourth 5-year plan. The working group recommended a library development scheme which was appended to Model Public Libraries. Model Public Libraries Bill of Indian Library Association. The Indian Library Association ILA, formed in 1933, has keen interest in library legislation and developed Model Public Library Act, which has been revised from time to time. Model Union Library Act. The Government of India appointed a committee to explore the possibilities to establish a national central library at New Delhi in 1948. Dr. S. R. Ranganathan, a member of the committee, drafted a library development plan in 1950 with a 30-year program and a library bill for the States and Union Public Library Act. Public libraries through 5-year plans. India's developmental process takes place through 5-year plans, and in every plan provisions have been made for their development. National Policy on Library and Information Systems. During 7th 5-year plan in 1985, a committee was set up under the chairmanship of Professor D.P. Chattopadhyay to formulate a national policy on library and information system, NAPLIS. National Mission on Libraries. One of the most groundbreaking development having long-term implications towards the development of public libraries in the country has been the setting up of National Mission on Libraries. Public libraries resource mobilization. There is a large scale absence of public libraries in our country. There is absolute lack of large scale and long term sustained planning. The availability of government funds is highly inadequate and not regular. What is needed is a strong advocacy on the part of people of learned societies of the country and to put pressure for strong and urgent steps.